In 2013, Sony released a PS3 exclusive that changed gaming forever, a masterpiece that cemented the argument that games can be art and taken seriously. The game went on to have a ridiculous amount of success, winning all of the awards. It received a TV adaptation with the Star Wars man, and got the remastered treatment on the PS4, and then that got the remastered treatment on the PS5, and then that remaster got remastered again on the PC. And Naughty Dog have been sniffing their farts ever since, knowing that they are now untouchable in the gaming landscape. So let's go back to the beginning and see what all the fuss is about as we cover the story of the original Last of Us game. We begin with our hero Joel coming in from a hard day at work. He's on the phone to his brother Tommy about contracts and boring adult stuff. This conversation wakes up his daughter Sarah, who's having a little nap on the couch. Today is Joel's birthday! And Sarah gives him a nice new watch. He asks her where she got the money from.
Drugs. I sell hardcore drugs.
The child falls back to sleep, so Joel carries her to her room and doesn't bother putting the covers over her because he's a bad parent. This is the worst tuck-in ever. A few hours later and Sarah's phone rings, and it's Tommy. He wants Joel to get on the phone, so Sarah gets up to go and find him. First up is the bathroom, just in case he's having a shit as the world is ending. Then to his room, where he's left the telly on. She sees an explosion and decides it's time to properly wake up. She goes downstairs and finds Daddy Joel coming in through the back door, all panicked. The neighbors have gone a little wacky and Joel uses American logic and shoots at his neighbor Jimmy after breaking through his patio window. Sarah starts talking shit like,
I saw him this morning.
Yeah? Well, he wasn't a zombie this morning, was he? Tommy arrives to pick them up in his truck. Shit is kicking off and we went from nothing happening and a nice nap to everything going crazy within the span of 5 seconds. Tommy has the genius idea to get out of town and doesn't think that anyone else has had the same plan, and gets stumped when he sees rush hour traffic at the bridge. New plan, turn around and go a different route. I'm sure that'll go smoothly. Nope, they're T-boned by another car. Sarah breaks her leg, so Joel has to carry her while Tommy takes point with his gun. They head towards the cinema, thinking they'll be safe in there. They can grab a popcorn and a Coke and watch Damocles Rising and distract themselves from the world going to shit around them. Sadly not, as a big explosion happens and they need to take another path. They cut through a pub to get to a bridge, chased by zombies the entire time. Hunk from Resident Evil takes out the zombies and phones into HQ to let them know they've found a couple of survivors. He's ordered to shoot at them. Joel does his best to avoid gunfire by belly dancing and yeets Sarah away from him. Hunk goes for the kill, but Tommy comes in with his gun and takes Agent Hunk out. Sarah's been shot though. Oh no! And she dies in Joel's arms. Cut to 20 years later and Joel is being woken up by his friend Tess banging on his door. She's come back from doing her job. She says that Robert sent goons to attack her. That bastard! I've never liked that Robert. Question, who the fuck is Robert? Everyone is looking for Robert apparently. He's a massive prick that's pissed off a bunch of folks. He sold Tessa's guns, he's in trouble with the Fireflies, and has started recruiting minions like a Batman villain. Joel and Tess plan to go to his base to search for him, but a big explosion happens at the gate and the military people start having to shoot out with the Fireflies. The gate is sealed, so the two aren't going that way and instead have to take the not so official route. Tess and Joel do a bit of
to me, to you,
dealing with a plank of wood and having a kerfuffle setting up a ladder. Planks and ladders. My favourite childhood board game. They catch up to Robert. He shoots a couple of warning shots and realizes that he's out of bullets, so he throws his gun. Well done, dumbass. Now we know you're not armed. Joel chases him and corners him against a locked gate that he could have very easily climbed over. Joel breaks his arm to get the information he needs. He sold the guns to the Fireflies because he owed them. Tess shoots him, and Marlene arrives. She's a Firefly and an old friend of the two. She's a little worse for wear. She says that they can have their guns back if they do her a favor. Marlene's group is being wiped out at a rapid pace, which is why she's turned to Joel and Tess for help. They get to Marlene's house and a little Asbo child is there trying to attack Joel with a knife as he's helping Marlene up off the floor. The annoying child is what is being smuggled. Tess wants to see the weapons before they smuggle her, so she goes off with Marlene and Joel is left in charge of babysitting. Joel is like me and doesn't really understand how to talk to kids, especially in the post-apocalypse. So, the Fortnite, eh? Does Fortnite exist in zombie apocalypse? I'm sure it does. She tells Joel that she can't tell him why she's been smuggled and it's top secret. Joel doesn't exactly care, so everyone is happy. The objective is to take the girl to the Capitol building and drop her off with some Fireflies who have came from a different city. Easy peasy, we'll be back in time for supper. They head to the outside where Joel is immediately blindsided by a bunch of soldiers. Tess offers them a blowjob as a bribe, but it's not effective. They check the three to see if they're infected. They get to Ellie and she stabs a dude in the leg. She's about to be shot, but Joel jumps in for the rescue. As it happens, Ellie is infected, but hasn't turned into a zombie. zombie. Her bite is 3 weeks old and usually most people turn within 2 days. Ellie might be the key to finding a cure for zombie-itis and is being handed over to the Fireflies so they can work on developing it. Tess is all aboard on the hype train, but Joel is super skeptic. So off they pop on their way to the Capitol building, avoiding all enemy zombies and whatever else along the way, using strong techniques such as waddling around like a duck and running straight into the zombie's face. Seriously, this AI is broken. The zombies in this game come from mushrooms that infect the brain and not in a fun way, ranging from generic crap zombies to running types and clickers, which are zombies but they have an emo fringe of mushrooms covering their eyes so they can't see. Joel gets separated from Tess and Ellie. He pries open a gap and it collapses in on him, so he has to take the long way around. He gets back to Tess, who's wrestling with a zombie, and manages to fight it off. On this trek, they're seeing more and more dead Fireflies with notes on their bodies about their job to escort Ellie. It's looking bleak that someone will actually show up alive at the rendezvous point, and it's exactly that, a bunch of dead dudes in the foyer as they enter. Tess is desperate to find something on them, a map, a hint, something to tell them what the plan is and where they're going, but nothing is there. Tess reveals that she got a love bite thanks to a zombie, the one that jumped when Joel got separated a little while ago. Her symptoms are already worse than Ellie's despite only being bitter moments ago. So this whole thing is real, and it's up to Joel to see through the rest of this journey while Tess fends off the baddies that have been taking out the Fireflies, accepting that fate over turning into a zombie herself, as Joel and Ellie need to sneak their way out or die trying. I opted for die trying because I have the stealth skills of a strobe light with a 𝐥𝐤𝐬𝐬. The two escape into the subway where Ellie proves that she's immune to the zombie plague because she doesn't instantly die from not wearing a mask, and the fart gas spores are what spread the infection the fastest. Yet instantly after exiting the tunnel, Joel takes off his mask and doesn't seem to give a shit that he's got spores all over his clothes and hair, but what do I know? I'm no fancy science man. Joel comes up with a plan to visit an old mate of his to borrow a car, but getting to his house is going to be a pain because he's rigged the whole town with traps like the Jigsaw Killer. Joel and Ellie sneak past a clicker, then Ellie decides that she suddenly wants to learn how to whistle. Stupid bitch, learn another time. Actually, Ellie, follow me for a second. You fancy learn to whistle now? No? I don't think so. So instead she makes random noises like she's doing a song, but it's really shit. So I threw a bottle at an explosive to shut her up. Joel gets snared in one of Bill's traps that leaves him hanging. This obviously alerts every zombie in a 10-mile radius. You'd think Bill would work on some more silent traps, but oh well. Let's make the most of it. Luckily this section has infinite ammo, which I sure as heck needed with the way that I aim. Joel is freed from the fridge lasso and is saved from snacky time by Bill and his machete. He takes Joel and Ellie to safety, then cuffs Ellie to a pipe, then starts giving out about how Joel ruined all of his traps and made a big kerfuffle coming here. Bill isn't a bad guy by any means. He's a little quirky and runs his mouth a lot. He has a lot to say about Tess, and Joel can't bring himself to tell Bill what happened to her. Bill doesn't have a working car, but he has parts. Bill takes the two to where he thinks there might be a working battery and cuts through a school gymnasium to get to it. But a big boy comes in and wants a fight. Why is this guy in the gym? Surely PE was this guy's least favorite lesson. The group escape to a house where they find Bill's partner Frank has hung himself and has left a note saying that Bill's a prick and has been desperate to get away from him for ages. That's a bit harsh. Could have just done what everyone else does and said you're popping out for cigarettes. This dude has a functional car though. They give it a big push downhill to jumpstart it with Ellie driving, and they have to run to catch up with it. Ellie has stolen Bill's porn collection and is making Joel uncomfortable with all of the penis talk, so she throws it out the window. The two make it pretty far without any interruptions on the road, considering it's the end of the world and buildings are falling over. I'm surprised that the roads are holding up and are free from abandoned cars. Oh wait, I spoke too soon. They reach Pittsburgh and there's a car pileup on the main road, so Joel has to go around. A man jumps into the road like, "Oh no, I'm dying, help me, this isn't a setup at all." And Joel is like, "I'm not that fucking stupid, mate," and steps on the gas ready to run him over. All of his mates come out, and of course it is a setup. Somehow they throw a bus at their car and T-bone them. That was some impeccable aim there, guys. Joel fights through all of Pittsburgh and into a hotel occupied with the bad lads. Joel falls down an elevator shaft into a dark, scary place and needs to work his way back up to Ellie. He escapes the spore cesspool basement and gets back to the main hotel to be kicked off a ladder by a guy who tries to drown him in a puddle. Joel does his best to reach his gun, but it's no use. But don't worry, Ellie comes running in for the save, blasting the dude in the face. Joel gets salty that he had to be saved, and keeps telling Ellie off for using a handgun, and she's like, "Yeah, but I saved your life though, innit?" Joel is definitely in the wrong here, but Ellie isn't helping by constantly bragging about it. There's a section now where there's too many dudes and Joel needs to be covered. Ellie isn't allowed to use the handgun because that's a grown-up gun for adults, but it's more than fine for her to use a rifle. Sure, there's some logic there somewhere. The two encountered an armored truck with bandits in it. They escape up a building and sneak through a window, and Joel gets jumped by a guy trying to put him in a sleeper hold. And Joel is like, "Sir, I invented the chokehold," and gives him a snap mirror and some punches for good measure. Ellie has to stop him because this guy has a little brother with him that's armed. This is Henry and his little brother Sam. They're going to be our new friends for a while. And Sam has a little crush on Ellie. Sorry to say, buddy, but I don't think that one's going to pan out the way you want it to. They pop to Toys R Us on their way to their hideout, and Henry tells Sam off for wanting baby toys and needs to grow up. And Sam's like, but it's Optimus Prime. Henry shares his plan to get past the checkpoint and kill a load of dudes that are on patrol. Smart plan, I like it. What could go wrong? The big car chasing them is what can go wrong. The group tried to escape over a van. Sam, Henry, and Ellie are able to get up, but the ladder falls off, and the new friends fuck off and ditch Joel. Even Ellie is appalled at this and jumps down to show solidarity to Joel. They try to escape through a garage, but it's no use. The truck comes barging through the side gate, and there's nowhere else to run, so Ellie, the natural Olympic diver that she is, decides that a jump into the river is the best course of action, and despite being a terrible swimmer, she's right. Her and Joel jump in to avoid the truck. Joel has to stop Ellie from drowning and goes straight into a rock at terminal speed and gets knocked out. He comes to on a beach. Henry and Sam are back, and Henry is like, "Oh hey, it's awake, GG, I saved your life." And Joel is like, "Excuse me, what? You ran off and left me to die." "Save my life, my arse," and pushes him over. Henry continues his plan of getting to a radio tower, back with Joel and Ellie following along. To get there, the group must get past a sniper with a lot of duck waddling. This must be murder on his legs. Joel takes out the sniper and steals his gun like, my turn, and Joel is now on sniper duty protecting his friends from zombies, and the fucking truck comes back. Go away, mate. Joel defeats the truck by shooting the guy coming out of the turret, making him drop his Molotov, setting himself and the driver on fire, which in turn makes the driver crash into a wall.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
They set up base for the night at the radio tower. Joel and Henry are talking about Harley Davidsons, which bores Ellie to death, so she leaves them to it and gives Sam that Optimus Prime action figure from Toys R Us that he had his eye on earlier. Sam starts being an ungrateful shit, so Ellie's like, "Fine, fuck you then," and leaves him alone too. Turns out Sam has been infected and is hiding it from everyone else. Morning breaks and Ellie goes in to wake him up, but he's a zombie now. He pounces on Ellie and Joel goes for his gun. Henry tries to stop him. Ellie over here just fighting off a zombie while the adults are bickering. Joel continues to go for his gun and bang! Henry shoots Sam and then himself. Next, it's fall, or autumn as it's properly called, and our adventurers are heading to Tommy's house. They approach the gate and a woman points a gun at them and tells them to piss off. Then Tommy comes in like, "Nah, they're cool, let them in," like he's trying to get them into a nightclub. Tommy and Joel go to hash things out while Ellie stays with Tommy's missus. They talk about Ellie in his office, and Joel's like, "How would you like a child? Free of charge?" And Tommy's like, "Yeah, I'll keep the free, thanks." So Joel uses that she's immune to sweeten the deal. Besides, we're only here because Tommy used to be mates with the Fireflies, and Tommy's like, "We're not mates anymore, I blocked them on Twitter," and isn't willing to go anywhere or do anything because he's settled down now and has a family to look after. Ellie overhears a conversation between Tommy and his missus and has a little temper tantrum, storming off and taking one of the horses with her. Joel and Tommy give chase. She's gone to a nice house. Seriously, this place is pretty nice. Why does no one live here? Ellie tells Joel that Tommy's wife gave her all of the gossip on Sarah, and Ellie complains that she doesn't want to be fobbed off on more strangers and she's bored of people dying. Then the game remembers that it's a game and we need to have another shootout with a bunch of dudes. A nice horse ride back to base, and Joel decides that he's going to stick with her and buggers off with one of Tommy's horses, and Tommy's like, "Joel, I need my horse back. That's my horse. It's not yours to take." They ride the horse to the university, thinking that the Fireflies would be here working on the vaccine. Joel makes his way through the dorms. I would say they've been hit hard by the zombie apocalypse, but this looks clean compared to most student accommodations I've been in. The university is abandoned. Joel finds an audio tape that tells him where to go, but the voice keeps droning on, so Joel is constantly fast forwarding through all the filler and ad reads.
"Before I tell you, this audio tape is sponsored by Raid."
He finally finds out where they're going, and of course a bunch of baddies come in to cause havoc. Joel is attacked by a man kicking a door in his face. He tussles with the dude and they both fall off a balcony, and Joel gets impaled like Lara Croft. But sadly Joel hasn't played Tomb Raider.
I was never a big fan of these things.
And doesn't know how to fix his wound. Ellie pulls him up and carries him to safety, and then Joel falls off his horse. Now it's winter and we play as Ellie, and luckily for us, Ellie has played Tomb Raider and knows all about deer hunting and how to fix rebar wounds. A weirdo named David and his not important mate comes to try and take Ellie back to their house, and Ellie is like, "No thank you, but I'll trade you some deer for some meds." So David sends Ronnie Random out to retrieve them. Dirty Dave gives cryptic hints that he might know who Ellie is and that Joel killed off all of his mates. The random dude comes back with the meds and Dave starts being a little bit of a creep, saying that he can protect Ellie. And Ellie's like, I'll pass thanks, as she returns to Joel with the paracetamol and plasters. Ellie has been tracked back to the house though, so she tries to lure away all the dudes with the horse. The horse gets shot and she falls off. She slowly picks off the dudes, but it's no good. David comes from behind and chokes her out. She's been captured and locked in a cage, awakening to see Ronnie Random cutting up body parts with his machete. Then David starts being a creep again. Ew, stop it. Ellie breaks Dave the Diddler's fingers in an attempt to steal his keys and break out, but it's not successful. Joel's spider sense is tingling and he wakes up and gets straight back into his routine of murdering everyone. Ellie is about to be cut up and then she tells Diddler Dave that she's infected, which distracts him and Ronnie Random long enough for her to grab the machete and kill the dude. Diddler Dave is now hunting Ellie in a fancy restaurant and she sneaks up on him and stabs him multiple times. And the restaurant catches fire for some reason. Joel sees the flames and goes to help, but Ellie doesn't need any help as she's battering the absolute shit out of David with his own machete. Go on, Ellie! Next, it's spring. These seasons sure are going by fast, and Ellie is not paying attention. They've arrived at a hospital. They get distracted by a giraffe, which is lovely. As Joel heads through the door, he starts having a change of heart. You know we don't have to go through with this. And Ellie's like, we've traveled the circumference of the earth twice, and now you've had the idea that you don't want to take me to the Fireflies to possibly cure humanity. Joel, are you fucking stupid? They try to get over a bus that's being used as a dam, but the bus moves and Joel falls in, and Ellie almost drowns. Joel's performing CPR on her, and some Firefly dudes arrive, pointing guns at him, and Joel's like, hold on mate, I'm trying to save a life here, and then the dude bonks him on the head with his gun. Joel wakes up in the hospital to Marlene sitting beside his bed. She lets him know that Ellie is being prepped for surgery, and Joel's like, what? A surgery? The Fireflies plan to extract the fungus infection from her arm, but this is a bad thing and will kill her. So Joel goes on a fucking rampage and stops the potential cure for humanity because he's a selfish prick. He makes it to the operating room and shoots the doctor man in the face. No, not cool doctor man. I'm sure murdering him won't backfire on Joel in any way in the future. He steals the child and leaves. Marlene holds him up at gunpoint and tries to convince Joel to do the right thing. So Joel murders Marlene. Joel has turned into a monster just so he can not go through the struggle of losing someone again. 1 million people have died in this game, including people you know and love, like Tess. And back then you had the emotional range of a tin of tuna. Why the sudden change of heart? Ellie wakes up in the car like, oh hey, what happened? And Joel flat out lies to her that there were plenty of immune kids at the base and they've gave up looking for a cure. Ellie has doubts as they approach Tommy's base and asks Joel to swear that everything he said was true. And then credits. Ooh, it's one of those open endings.
Hi everyone, this is 𝐥𝐤𝐬 here. Thank you so much for watching this video on The Last of Us. And if you want more zombie games, I've got a recommendation for you just here. And of course, share the video with your friends, like and subscribe and all that good stuff. And more things are coming. Just leave a comment, tell me other games that you would want for me to cover in this poorly explained format. Till next time, keep on dancing. Bye bye. Love you. Bye. Bye bye bye. You're not waving back. You got to wave. Wave to me.